The Ramblin Tea House is an entertainment-only podcast, meaning we're for entertainment only. While laughter is the best medicine, it's not the only medical attention you should be seeking.
We have the same amount of degrees as WebMD, which is to say, none. Here at the Rambling Tea House, we endeavor to handle all topics as respectfully as possible, but to err is human.
So tip your waitress, be out by closing, and please, don't park over the line.
Did I tell you about that time that my parents and I were down in Florida and they made a hotel reservation for a hotel that, for all intents and purposes, didn't exist?
I'm pretty sure parts of Florida don't exist in general, but go on.
Like Finland?
No, Finland exists, but Florida is a hellscape. So it's on an extra dimension.
You've heard about that, though. The Europeans' conspiracy where they all kind of agree that Finland doesn't exist.
I have, but I know that they're wrong.
What? No.
Yeah.
Like, Finnish people are real.
Okay, that's a whole nother topic. But
yeah, so we were leaving Disney World, heading for the Florida Keys, because white people. So
off the Florida Beach Boys ruined that whole scenario. But yeah,
we were between Disney World and the Kennedy Space Center.
Okay.
So we were going down the bottom.
I proudly can say I've never been to Florida.
Okay, yeah. We're going down.
Okay.
Towards the warm waters.
That way.
Yeah. And we were looking for our hotel for the night, and we were driving up and down this rather barren stretch of road that reminded me a lot of places I'd seen in Arizona, which is really weird to say about Florida. But there weren't a lot of places there, and the places there were all clearly marked. And we had it plugged into the GPS, like we had printouts and all of this stuff before the era of smartphones to try and find it. And it kept taking us to empty buildings or empty lots, and we would try and put alternative addresses in. So we couldn't find the place we were supposed to stay that we'd made reservations for. Mm-hmm. So we ended up staying in this really rinky-dink, like, Super 8? Is that what they're called?
Yes, they're Super 8s.
Yeah.
You get clean towels.
Yeah.
That's the plus.
The
towels are clean.
Yeah.
The sheets, but only one hooker has been in them before you. So, I mean...
Only the one.
Only the one.
It's not their fault that their clients are disgusting.
Who said there was a client? Come on, hookers are people too, Lilli. Come on.
That's what I'm saying.
It's just the sweat. It's the sweat of somebody else.
Well, that would be unhygienic regardless.
Exactly.
Like, you got someone else's bacteria.
Exactly.
I think you're the last person I need to explain sex work politics
to.
Except for maybe Pixie. She's the last person.
I used to hang out with the girls that used to walk a particular street because they lived out where I lived. Used to work at a store. They used to come back after the end of their shift and have coffee and cigarettes. I used to give them the coupons inside, and they used to give me their Camel Bucks. That's how long ago this was. Camel Bucks were still a thing. And they'd tell me how cute I was, and, you know, tell my mom that they said hi.
You were a cute kid.
I was adorable. I used to have a tip jar on the counter just because of how cute I was. So, yeah, I spent a lot of time with them. I was kind of strange growing up and getting into, like, middle school and high school when normal children start to learn about these things.
And you already knew.
And I already knew everything. And I was like, hey, that's my friend's mom you're talking about. Fuck you. I'm going to eat your ear off. Also, I was a small child, and, like, when you jump up at somebody who's taller than you gotta go for something. And
that you can hang on to.
Those girls had some dangly earrings that were just right there and just...
Hey, Nick. Steampunk cars.
Look at those exposed rods. That's so dangerous. It's so scary. Like, if you don't have the right seal and anything explodes, like, you're fucked.
Because it would go.
Because the intake manifold, and then you throw a rod, and there's no engine body to catch it. The rod just goes, and then right through the senator's heart. So obviously this is happening at a political rally. And, like...
Are you the one that killed Archduke Ferdinand? Because I'm fairly certain that is what you just described to me.
They overplay that song, okay? I had to make it end.
What song?
Shh, exactly.
No, but, like, is there some, like, Rammstein song that I don't know about?
The band. Anyway, it's overused, it's overplayed, and they could have used a different beat. Throwing that option out there for future generations to make commercial music, too. I mean, Asteroid Galaxy Tour did a song for Heinz, the beer. And it was great, and no one had ever heard the song before. And now nobody remembers it. Let's go with that. Like, hey, awesome song. And now moving on to a different one. It's okay. We're moving on.
Today's special at the Ramblin Tea House is BlackButton Chowder served with straw.
Why?
It's...
No, this. Why? No, it's fine. Go on.
Why the dolls? That why?
I don't want to know yet. Just keep going.
What do you think of our impromptu audience members?
There's a lot of them. Is it because you're scared about the pictures you took escaping into the ether?
Oh my god. We were talking about stuffed animals.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
So yeah, those photographs are in the ether.
So, for the audience who don't have the
Backstory. Here we go. Origin story of this episode.
Speaking of Florida.
Yeah, speaking of Florida.
Which
we should never do.
But we are. Florida. I think Jason Mendoza is the best thing to ever come out of Florida.
Yeah, but that's a person, not a place. We're talking about the place itself. I have nothing against people. Okay, actually, hold on. I have a lot of things against half the people that show up during this time of year. Because the ones from Florida are fucking assholes. They park their RV outside of my house, and I can't get out. This happens every year. I need them to go home.
Every year?
Every year.
Every year. Like, if you bet money on it, it would be a sure thing every year.
Yes. There's 2 people from Florida, 1 person from Virginia, and 1 person where their license plate is so scratched out, you know they're one of the carnies.
I mean, they're just trying to work.
They're just trying to make a living, man.
But they should.
But they're on the run because if you've seen the carnies that work this particular event that's going on right now, yes.
So we were in the Florida Keys, and
in the Florida.
We were in the Florida. My mom was like, "Hey, you're a weird kid, because I raised a weird kid. You want to go on a fucking ghost tour?" And I'm like, "You bet your ass I want to go on a ghost tour." But I didn't say that because I don't swear in front of my mother.
You have a very different relationship with your mom than my mom.
I don't swear in front of my mom, but I swear in front of your mom.
Yes, I rarely swear in front of my mother, but that's because she calls me on it and then laughs and says worse things. Recently, her compliment to me was like, "You look like a high-class hooker." Thank you, Mom. That's such a nice compliment. She's like, "I love you."
Your mom.
You harlot. And then she left.
Wasn't that when we went to the winery?
Yeah.
I was gonna bring I call them my winery earrings. They're just like a bushel of grapes.
Yes.
And they're purple. And I got them from the place. And
I believe it.
I was gonna bring them for you to wear. And then I was like, "No, she'll wear earrings." Then you didn't. And I'm like, "I should have brought the earrings." Then I'm like, "No, she would have told me no."
With that sort of
It would make
attire.
it's camouflage.
It's not camouflage.
It's camouflage. They wouldn't be
It's
able,
a lie.
They wouldn't be able, that's what the fuck do you think camouflage is?
No, that's stealth. This is a flat out lie. I'm looking those people in the face with all 4 of me that they're seeing. So it's quadruple a lie. Seriously though.
They just think you brought your whole family.
It was so fascinating. Yeah, no. Where'd the bottle go? I don't know, I drank mine. Florida.
So Florida, we were in Florida, and my mom's like, "You want to go on a ghost tour?" And I'm like, "Yes, mother, I would love to go on a ghost tour." And it was one of those ghost tours where they give you EMF readers.
Yes.
And part of
fancy tape players, but yes.
They're fancy tape players. And part of my brain was like, it would be really easy for them to hack into this and set it.
It's literally a magnet with a battery.
Yeah. That being said, we went on a ghost tour. And if nothing else, it was a tour of the historic parts of Florida Keys. So that was cool.
There are many.
Yeah. It was also apparently called the Isle of Bones for many reasons, one of which being they buried a lot of people improperly, so when bad weather would hit, the graves would be disinterred, and the bones would just wash up.
Yep.
So we were...
Creepy.
A huge part of the tour was this story about a 100-year resident of the Florida Keys. He is a straw-stuffed doll who carries a little line. He wears a sailor's outfit. He's about 3 feet tall. He's over 100 years old now, and he is the inspiration for Chucky, among other things.
I believe that.
I haven't actually seen the movies.
Robert, we'll get
Are
back
they
to
as
Chucky.
garbage as they look?
They knew what they were trying to go for, like, psychological thriller, but it's so campy, and nowadays, with how CGI is. Chucky is just ridiculous.
Garbage.
It's-
Also, I'm offended because I
actually-
love Chucky from the Rugrats, and I was really upset when I found out that a lot of teenagers, when they hear the name Chucky, they think of that possessed little doll.
Yeah, it's called Child's Play. It's not
Yeah.
called Chucky. So
The later movies are called Chucky.
No, Bride of Chucky and things like it has Chucky in the title.
The
But it's
sequels.
Child's Play. Yeah,
So I went to see...
they're remaking it.
Are they really? For some reason I want Lewis Black.
It's Mark Hamill.
Yes! Oh my god, he's gonna make it perfect. He's gonna make it wonderful
It's gonna
and
be so great.
glorious because Mark Hamill appreciates camp. Mark Hamill understands camp.
He does. I do. I hope it's as ridiculous as the first one. I have standards now.
Also, I love how Mark Hamill's like, no, am chill boy, am introverted boy, but also, did I mention I play good villains?
His Joker is terrifying.
His Joker is amazing. Horrific and amazing. Part of the tour took us to see the childhood home where the original owners of Robert lived and where Robert was originally stored before he got donated to an armory museum off the coast of the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
So, very, 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 very long story, very short. A boy was gifted a doll from one of the family, they say servants, I'm pretty sure they're just slaves with fancy names. It started out fine, but it started wreaking havoc on the family, and then even into his adult life, his obsession with this doll continued.
It even infected his marriage.
It infected his marriage, it ruined his marriage. The original owner, the boy, where the doll got his name, Robert Eugene Otto, he never went by Robert, he went by Gene or Eugene, so he gave the name to his doll.
Which is a whole thing.
Which is a whole thing.
Intent. It's a lonely,
Yup.
sad child who has put all of his hopes, wishes, dreams, and love into this object.
Yup. When he finally dies in 1976, the doll is left up in the attic where it was finally stored, and another family finds it.
Yeah, no, they hammered it into a box.
Yeah.
They locked it up.
Another family finds it.
Mhm.
Another girl starts to play with it, and the whole cycle begins all over again until it was finally donated to the armory,
Yep.
where it's kept in a locked glass box.
And they still treat it with reverence rather than respect, and that's one of the reasons it has such a problem.
Yeah, the people that work there, even the skeptics and non-believers, have seen it misbehaving. Like, it'll get out of the glass and run around at night.
Yeah.
And when I went to visit it, the walls in its box are plastered with apology letters from people who disrespected him, air quotes.
Mhm.
If you take his picture without permission, there have been reports of car crashes, relationships breakups, planes failing. The one that I like is George W. Bush didn't pay him due respect.
Yes.
And then Air Force One broke down on the tarmac.
That's good.
Which I find hilarious because that is arguably the most well-maintained plane in the country.
Yeah, even when it's not you putting stock in this thing, there's all these people putting all the energy and time and focus into it. They have a security guard, they have tours that they do, they have money and power and
Pictures,
energy.
it has its own, they have their own web pages and social media profiles.
It's all this feeding into this.
Yeah.
So you create something. That's what happens a lot of the time.
Told us.
People create things.
It's that same concept.
Yep.
I had a thing and I lost it. There's stories as to the origin of the doll, but apparently in Chucky, his origins were voodoo, and people were like,
Yeah.
oh, that's slapstick, that's weak, that's stupid, but apparently that's supposed to tie back into, oh yeah, one of the slaves, cursed it with voodoo because his mother was apparently, like, really cruel. And on the one hand, yeah, people were notorious for being cruel to their people that they owned. But on the other hand, isn't that kind of a, like, racist cop-out?
Saying it was voodoo?
If it might not have been.
Yeah.
Just planning like, oh, the vicious,
It's
like,
ridiculous.
vengeful brown people did it.
Yeah. Voodoo's a thing.
It is a thing.
Hoodoo is more of what goes on. It's two totally separate things.
It is.
It's more the ancestors.
That was the first time I heard that story was the other day when I was researching it. And on the one hand, that seems completely viable that someone who's being mistreated by their employer/owner, because this is back in the, like, turn of the century, that they would use the faith base that they were taught by their family to enact change in their life. But on the other hand, it also sounds like a racist cop-out.
Mm-mm. That's probably not what happened. Also, a lot of those toys and stuff are still made the same way that they were today, where you have all these people, a lot of pain and suffering going to half the things we buy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
there
just
is
a
that.
vicious cycle of loneliness. That's how most of these things get created.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, Chucky is a whole thing.
And even Robert the Doll, like, I have to wonder where that kind of thing comes from. But when you hear about the way that Eugene treated it, it makes total
It was
sense.
treated as a member of the family?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't. And that's when bad stuff started happening.
Yep.
False idols and all that.
So I have a quote-unquote surprise.
Surprise?
Yeah.
So, there's Robert the Doll, but I think some people might be more familiar with another.
I know a lot of people are more familiar with Annabelle.
On that note, I have some guests.
Oh, good.
Again.
Uh-huh.
So, I used to collect porcelain dolls as a child. And anyone who knows anything about the Annabelle doll knows that even though it's some creepy Chucky lookalike in the movie, it was actually a Raggedy Ann doll. That being said, I was digging through the garage, and I found some things of James's.
That's good. Yeah, no, Annabelle was another similar situation. Except for that one, what is that woman's name? Oh, that's so great, Lilli. Wow. Huh. I'm just gonna leave these here. Okay, you do that.
So, for those who cannot see, the bar is covered in stuffed animals.
It's...
And I've just set 2 porcelain dolls and 2 Raggedy Ann dolls down, because I am... How would you describe this?
disturbed.
Yeah,
No,
I'll take it.
Never got the whole doll thing. I mean, as a child, I was like, oh, yes, I have to fit in with my cousins and all that. Yeah, I totally love those dolls.
Barbie things.
Love that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Super
I'm gonna collect
fun.
them, and then just stared at them and went, yep.
No, but these are like the big modern Raggedy Ann. These are like the old school vintage ones.
Homemade.
Maybe. I don't know.
Handmade?
Handmade.
I will give you handmade. Annabelle.
Annabelle is a textbook example of why you don't invite shit into your house.
Yeah, it's okay. You can just take up space in this doll. It's cool.
Long story very short, a nurse went off to school and her mom didn't want her to be sad, so she gave her a Raggedy Ann doll. And then her and her roommate noticed that it started doing things that dolls shouldn't, like moving or acting like it had joints when it didn't. Yeah. And they called a medium when it started showing up
What
with
is that chick's name? There's the woman and the husband that...
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah, those people.
They're both dead now.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it was gonna happen eventually.
Ironically enough, they lived really long lives. They didn't die of, like, horrific ghosty deaths.
It was just waiting for him.
Yeah.
Life has patience. Death even more so.
I think death is, like, the most patient TM. They're like, oh no, I can wait. It's fine. I mean, Neil Gaiman pointed that out in the Sandman series. What are you doing? Waiting. I like how anybody who's read the Sandman series pretty much agrees that Sandman...
The author and
It's Neil Gaiman!
Yeah, or in Good Omens, it's like Death was doing everything while the other 3 horsemen were just fucking off.
Dicking about.
Yeah. He's like, I have a job! And then at the... Spoilers for Good Omens, a book that's been out since 1990.
Spoilers.
Death takes off, he's like, well, the other 3 are dead. Done.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yeah.
There is only one God. The God of Death. And what do we say to the God of Death? Not today.
There's a whole section on it that people just kind of gloss over.
In Game of Thrones or in other forms of
In
spirituality?
other forms. I am the light and the dark. Anyway, yeah.
Ah! Nick!
What?
Nick! Nick! Why? Nick!
You put poppets on the table.
Oh my god, if I wasn't drinking before! I mean, this is so cool. Like, I'm so excited, and I totally agree, but on the other hand...
Hey, it's not my fault. I didn't make this shit up.
You didn't make this shit up, which is why I'm like, why have I never noticed this? Yeah. Why do people always separate God and the deity of death? Why are they always described as inherently separate things?
Because you have to be one or the other.
That doesn't make sense. Nature
It doesn't! Exactly!
Nature is inherently dualistic. I like how it works. I got so freaked out. I'm like, no, I have to be able to see you better.
Yeah.
You conniving little shit. You make everything so creepy. But you're also right all the time, so I can't even be mad at you.
I mean, sometimes it's weird things, like the fact that people pour beer wrong. Sometimes it's stuff like this.
Okay, no. You have to talk about that, because I am viciously angry about that.
Oh.
Like that scene from
Okay.
Clue, flames around my head.
Alright, so people pour beer wrong. Because most of the time you open a beer and it's not like wine where there's CO2 in it.
Yeah.
Like large amounts of CO2 in
Like
wine.
they try and keep the CO2 out of
Yeah.
wine. They try and make it thick.
So, with beer, that's not the case. There's probably a YouTube video on this somewhere about how to properly pour beer.
There is. I think
But-
there's definitely a reason to
But
it.
anyway, like halfway through pouring a beer out, you have to tip the glass back to straight and pour it directly in to release the CO2. Otherwise, it gets gross in your stomach. All the CO2 stays, and then you slowly start moving around and doing stuff or eating things, because a lot of people do like chips and beer.
Or a lot of people like will
French fries and beer.
drink at like a party when you're moving around, like you're playing, like I don't care if you're doing horseshoes or swimming or whatever, or if you're just dancing. Or science. Nick
Yeah.
actually poured a bit of beer into a glass, and it didn't have like that, what'd you
Yeah,
call
no,
it?
you do the wine pour where you go up the side. It's called a head. You pour it. I poured it all the way down the side, and then I just sat it down and went, "Okay, Lily, this is what it does in your stomach." And I took a spoon and went, spoon, pulled it out, and then
And it went from having no head to having...
that's why taps is a game, because people hate each other. You don't know about taps.
I might, but I don't know if we're talking about the same thing, so I'm going to let you describe it.
Okay, so you open a beer, hit it on the other person's beer, so it starts to foam over, and they have to chug it.
Why? What is the
Because-
purpose of that?
Drinking. Anyway, all that CO2 is released in your stomach, and believe it or not, the stomach cannot hold a whole lot, so they
It's-
have all the extra space that you're shoving things into with alcohol, and you will throw up. That's why that whole wine before...
Liquor for beer, never fear.
beer.
Before liquor, never sicker, because you've got the light
You're
and then the dense.
You're literally just turning up CO2 and you're gonna throw up. So, yep, weird things versus weird things.
There is only one God, the God of death.
There is. Yeah, you're right.
It's right there.
It's
It's
back.
right
It's
there.
literally right there. Yeah, it's fine.
It's not even hidden.
No, it's not.
It's just chilling.
It's literally a quote.
All the time! Not even an uncommon one. Not even like a B-side track. Just every day.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. So.
So haunted dolls. Annabelle. So they got this doll. It was acting real funny. It started showing up, like there were notes written when they didn't have like pen or paper in the house. They were written in crayon, which is extra creepy. And they also found the doll with blood on its hands one day, and they're like, okay, we're done here. This is enough. It's over. And rather than killing it with fire like a sensible fucking person...
I mean, they tried that with Robert the doll.
What?
Yeah, the wife set him on fire and it came back.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
No, it was the whole thing.
How is that not part of, like, the main storyline that I've heard?
You should watch the lore episode.
I have.
She literally sets it on fire. We're gonna have to watch it again. Yeah, Annabelle, they didn't try setting her on fire.
They didn't try setting her on fire, which might not have worked in the first place, because dear fucking god. Anyways, so they called in a medium, and they didn't call in, like, someone who'd done their research. I don't know who they called in, but they called in someone who didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. And the medium communed with the spirits, and said it was the spirit of, like, a child, like a young girl named Annabelle.
Yeah, that's good.
And she wanted to know if she could live in the doll, and they said yes, which is not what you do. And
After they had it in their house, doing all this stuff, blood on its hands,
it's already there. Why do you
fucking
need...
creepy ass notes. You take it, and you don't accept it in the first place, okay? Whenever you're presented with a, hey, you want to see something creepy, your first instinct should be why, not yes. You have to have questions before you do the thing.
What kind... Even I ask, what kind of creepy are we talking about?
Yes. What you do. Not yes, yes, creepy. Yeah. What kind of creepy? All the creepy.
What kind
What
of creepy?
kind of creepy? Why should I care? Why are you in my house?
Is it actually something that I need to be feeding energy into?
Exactly.
Which is something that I've become much more aware of since spending time with you and your family. You're like, no, we don't talk about it. And I'm like, why? And you're like, nope.
You're talking about Robert Doll. I'm like, and my brain is going there, so we're just gonna look up Oh, look,
Chucky.
Mark Hamill's doing so good with
He's
his
doing
life.
so good!
Mark Hamill's doing so good with his life!
By the way, when I edge that direction, you can always, like, ping pong, like, not ping pong,
Pong?
No.
Foosball? Yeah.
No,
This is like pinball?
Pinball!
Okay.
Just pinball me over. Like, no, Lilli.
You know, pinball, you just shoot something, it comes right back. That's how ADHD works. It's literally a pinball machine for a brain.
Pinball machine so
ADHD
much.
is just pinball machine.
Pinball
brain.
machine brain! It's true, though.
Yeah.
The medium said, oh, this little girl's spirit, she was like, she died in the field where these buildings are now. Like, used to be a field, and she died there. And she wants to know if she can, like, live in the doll. Which is where you go, you can get out of my house, and you can take this fucking doll with you.
Yeah, take it with you.
Bye! Not
It's
no way, not no how.
That whole faith thing, you don't be a dick about it, but you're like, no.
Can I? No.
I did not sign up for this.
You are not invited. You are not welcome. This is not your place. This is not your home. Nope. GTFO.
It's that whole home versus
You have to set that
house.
line. For real, though. When a house is not a home, you can feel it in the building. It's unsettling.
Yeah.
Anyways, so rather than sending the medium and the doll away, they were like, yeah, no.
Of course, come on
You
in!
can inhabit this doll, which is not what you say to things. You don't do that. That is not how you live your life.
Yeah.
The medium they give it permission, it comes into their house, it possesses the doll. It was already...
Yeah. There we go.
So, they gave her permission, it possessed the doll, and they, for some reason, didn't anticipate that happening. They sent the medium away, they kept the doll because they're stupid.
Yeah.
And the doll started getting, unsurprisingly, more crazy, started doing more crazy, demonic doll shit.
Which is something that we actually talked about.
We did, and you blew my mind
Earlier,
with this.
we were talking about something, and what was it I don't remember exactly what you said to me.
We were talking about how speech is energy.
It
and
is.
how, well, just because you're talking to it doesn't mean you've given it permission for something.
No, you're like, if something's good, then it shouldn't have to ask permission, right? Something like that.
If something's decent, it probably doesn't need permission.
Yeah, but that's not exactly how that works. In order to ask for permission, it has to already be there, which is the main thing. Like,
If it's talking
If
to
it's
you,
talking
it's
to you,
already
it's already
inhabiting
there.
your house.
it's already there.
It's already there.
Sorry.
Yeah. Can I live here? Bitch, you're squatting. Get out.
Yeah.
Wasn't I, like, rolling on the floor when you told me that the first time?
And you laid on my floor, and you went, no. And you just kept on saying varying intonations of no. I don't like that. Yeah, no. It
should put a chill through anybody who goes, not hunting for ghosts, but ghosts. Let's call them finders. They're particularly good.
Well, they're seeking these things
They're
out.
looking for them. Yeah. Because I think a lot of the people who go looking
They got
for...
their profile uploaded. They're available.
Yeah, but no.
I don't know how online dating works. So.
I'm just gonna wait. There's things flying overhead. Okay, can I take a minute and give a PSA for the tourists?
Okay. Yell at the people.
To borrow a phrase from a friend of mine, if you are traveling from Northern California all the way up to the cold parts of Canada, and you're playing with anything bigger than a Bic lighter, it's not Smokey Bear who will find you. It's Joanna Mason from the fucking Hunger Games. That crazy bitch with the axe, she will come for you. Be careful, please, because when you're careless, when you throw your cigarette butts out the window, it's our backyards that light up. It's our forests that end up on fire. Don't be a dick. Don't be that person. Proper consideration for fire safety when you're on vacation. Get your shit together. Be a better person. Joanna Mason will come for you.
Yeah.
You were raised by loggers. Go on your rant.
We'll find you, and you will die. Bloody.
Like I said, Joanna Mason. It's not Smokey the Bear you gotta worry about. It's that crazy bitch with the axe.
We have chainsaws now.
Oh, we've gone up a level.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ever seen a chainsaw cut? You want to? Throw your fucking cigarette out the window.
It takes no work to put out your campfire. Mountains.
Stir.
Pour.
Stir. If there's still fire, guess what? Repeat. Roll not.
If you have to, pee on it. It's not
If
hard.
you have to, pee on it. Write your name in embers.
Pour the dregs of the beer that have bugs in them on the fire. Any sort of liquid.
They make a nice popping sound. It's free fireworks for the kids.
Any sort of non-flammable liquid. Let me rephrase that, because I said any sort of liquid. Any sort of non-flammable liquid.
I mean, if you pour gas on a fire, things are gonna happen. There's several songs about it.
Are there?
Yeah. Several of them are, in fact, called Gasoline.
Chainsaw cuts.
Well, Lily's gonna see some stuff she was gonna wish she could unsee.
Oh, across the face. Oh, it serrates it. Oh, boy. Oh, my. Oh, leg wound down to the bone. Cool.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah, how? No, Nick!
So take Lily's reaction as a warning.
Don't fuck with loggers, man.
Hello. Anyway, that's been a PSA about, hey, the woods fucking exist.
So, Annabelle, they invited this
They invited a thing.
to possess a doll.
Yes.
And then, of course,
I mean, it was already doing it, but
it was
now
already
it was
doing
welcome.
it, but now they gave it an open door. Now it didn't have to
Now
squeeze
they
through the
welcomed
cracks,
it
Edgar Allan Poe
completely.
style. Yeah. So shit got
It's
worse.
there. It's supposed to be there now, so, yeah. And if the thing is there because it wants in our world, maybe don't do that in the first place.
Ed and Elaine Warren, they got in contact with them, and Ed and Elaine were like, yo, you made a rookie mistake, you done fucked up.
Yeah.
This thing is demon, it's possessing this doll, and within a week you would all be dead. You do not want this shit in your house. And so they took it home, and on the way home, they claimed to have almost gotten in multiple fatal crashes. It now lives in the Warren Museum.
Yeah.
In a glass pane, not unlike the other doll, with a sign that says something to the effect of, do not open under any circumstance. The extensive details you can get from people who have already talked about it. This is kind of like pop culture common knowledge now. This is more of a PSA of, hey, maybe fucking don't.
Yeah, that's why teddy bears work. It's a much better sight than your creepy-ass faces. People are terrible. Why would you want to recreate them? Well, one of the things I had an issue with Frankenstein. He was like, yes, I'll create my own life. Already did it! Don't do it again!
Intelligence is knowing that Frankenstein isn't the monster.
Wisdom is knowing Frankenstein was the monster. And Frankenstein's creation wasn't
a monster.
He did the best he could with the life he had. Yeah, he messed up. Yeah. We're doing the best we can with the knowledge we have.
I love that people were claiming that fake geek girls were a thing, and someone on the internet was like, the entire concept of sci-fi and fandoms and everything you understand to be pop culture was given to you by women.
Yeah.
First comic book, woman. First sci-fi story, woman. Internet, woman. Wi-Fi, woman.
We got to space. I'm going to give you
Because
one
of
guess.
a nerdy little girl!
Yeah. She hand did the code. It's crazy. It's taller than she is.
She did that code by hand? Lord in heaven.
And even if she didn't write it with hand,
She had to
type it by hand. Yeah.
Can't be dyslexic in that situation.
No, you can't. Throwing this out there. Hey, Grammarly. How you doing?
Hey, Grammarly, how you doing? Wouldn't it be funny if a bunch of dyslexics got sponsored by Grammarly?
Yes.
It'd be perfect, actually.
It's true.
Because we know how useful it can be. Like, how much work did you have to put in school to spell things correctly?
You assume I put work into school.
I know you put work into school because you got a fucking education and you graduated. Don't try and act like you're too cool for school. Like, you're smarter than that.
I really didn't put any effort in school.
Because, like, you could have been doing other things while you were putting work into your education.
I was.
Yeah, I know. But you could have been doing other things.
I could have been doing everything people thought I was doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you weren't. Because you're not an idiot.
You don't have to do public education.
Honestly, for real talk, I've learned more hanging out with you than I ever did in a classroom.
One of my favorite scenes is from that 70s show, actually, where they're having issues with getting good grades and passing, and then they're, like, doing the math for their weed. They're not stupid. They're just bored.
It's just... The modern education system is designed if they want you to be productive.
Find a place in society and stay there.
Be a cog in the wheel.
Cool. So, There needs to be some sort of wrap-up on this.
There does.
What we've learned from these scenarios is that when people put all that time and energy into something that is not safe or healthy, it's the same as what you're doing in your everyday life. Like, you just don't have a demonic manifestation. You have all this, like, internalized stuff going on. So, like, feed the good stuff. Don't feed the demon dolls.
This is where anyone who's been on the internet for any length of time is going to reference the two wolves story. You're native, you know this story, right? It's a nice metaphor. If it resonates with you, cool.
Just don't. I'm deleting every social media account I have.
Meanwhile,
I
mine
can't
is
post
like...
half the things I've done because it seems weird. Like, look! I restored this knife! I got most of the blood off! Isn't that great?
No, you should post that on social media.
Yeah.
With the preface that you picked that knife up somewhere other than your own home. The blood is not...
Oh, no, I bought it with blood on it. It probably murdered somebody. I mean, seriously, that's the best way to get a murder weapon. Is sell it to somebody. Cash. Or sale. Or antique sale. Don't do that, though.
Don't murder people.
Yeah, it's
Seek
illegal.
mental help
It's
assistance.
illegal and wrong.
You almost
Unless it was
believe that.
justified. Okay, and on top of that, don't try voodoo. Don't try
Voodoo,
supernatural.
Santeria.
Yeah, don't try it. None of them which involve demonic dolls.
Don't do it. Do not, when it says, hey, can I come in? Say, fuck no.
Don't even answer, man. Just
Nope. www.nottodaysatan.com.
that whole speak of the devil, he will appear, all that good stuff. Just don't.
How about no?
How about you mind your business? It's how you live. Which apparently is not a thing most people do.
No, it's not.
I learned growing up, and then I learned more about how, nope, okay. And then I had a friend who wanted to be in everybody's business, and did not like that. And then I was like, Lilli, why the fuck do you care? And he went, 'cause. I'm like, no, it's not your deal, man. Just let go. And you're like, oh. But, no, shh. It's not your business.
Not with your wordplay, Lilli.
Just gonna let it go. We're just gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go, and we're gonna move on. So that's it.
So don't Ansel and Fry's dolls. Thank your teddy bear for being wonderful and inanimate and a good armrest. And don't listen to the back alley medium that you contacted. Do your research. Don't speak energy to things.
Also, yeah, don't deal with back alley mediums. Don't deal with the types of mediums that say they regularly commune with spirits.
Is that a bragging right?
Yes.
Well, that's something I see.
I have so many spirits that I'm in contact with. Like, they're my past lives.
I've seen so many people on Tumblr who try and act like Ouija boards or spirit boards aren't...
Okay, Ouija, don't fucking do it, and that's all I have to say.
And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you use, like, electronic communication when you go ghost searching. Like, what's the difference between that and the Ouija board? It takes more energy to connect through the planchette than it does through something.
An EMF reader is literally just something beeping at you. And yeah, maybe some stuff comes through. As long as you don't talk back, no harm in an EMF reader. It's just literal beeps and boops. Things are always gonna...
It's picking up things that are already there.
I mean, things are already gonna bleed through. You just don't know they're there because you're human and stupid. Sorry. I mean, I'm not, but that's how it is. You're human and stupid.
I've always wondered, like, why the source consciousness, great spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, decided that, like, okay, these creatures are gonna have a limited perception of the universe.
Because we wanted free will. Also, you're a corporeal being. Your brain would overheat. Nobody's CPU is that good.
Nobody's CPU is that good. Nobody has enough RAM for all the knowledge of the universe.
Yeah.
As evidenced by the number 42.
Yes. Them fucking mice. And what did that potted plant do to deserve that secondary fate?
It was a good plant. It tried real hard.
As it was falling. Not again.
I also feel like a lot of people are like, why did they pick Martin for that? I'm like,
because
Martin's the perfect person for that. But
Ouija boards, spirit boards, and demon boards are all the same thing with different intents, but it's a different lock, but the door's the same.
My dude, no.
Just because you got a fancy-ass filigreed lock on your door does not mean it ain't just 2x4s stuck together with some twine.
My grandpa, who spent a lot of time in Southern California, said locks only keep out honest people.
Yeah.
And I feel that applies to the metaphysical as well.
No, they got different rules.
Well, no, but I mean, like, the boundaries are only going to keep out the people who those boundaries apply to.
Yeah, pretty much, but it's like you're shining a flashlight going, hey! Over here!
Hey!
Yeah.
I actually really like the movie.
You know that scene from A Quiet Place? That.
I'm only part of the way through A Quiet Place right now.
Ah, never mind then.
But I really like Insidious because when he goes to the astral plane, it's a dark world. It's a quiet world. And literally everything he does calls attention to him.
Yeah.
Like, that movie, oddly enough, made me more aware of things beyond my perception than other things did, because it portrayed them, I think, rather clean-cut, rather straightforward. Like, it doesn't matter if you went out looking for positive things. The darker things are going to find you because they're out there.
We're going to end this on a quote, so you can think about this.
Like, yes, intention matters, but at a certain point, like, it doesn't matter how good you think you are. There's always, it's kind of like ballet. It doesn't matter how good you think you are. There's always going to be somebody who's better than you. I'm trying to keep it separate.
Yes.
Positive, physical, tangible.
Yeah. See, the problem with intent and everything is that you only have so much because you, once again, are corporeal. You live here.
Bounded by
You're human.
Physical laws.
Yeah, you have a whole set of rules that are laid down for you.
The non-corporeal beings do not.
Yeah, no, they're not human.
What?
Yeah. So one of my favorite quotes
between heaven and earth than are...
There are more things between heaven and hell that are thought up in your something duration. But that's not the quote I'm saying. This quote is actually from Good Omens, and it's, God does not play dice with the universe. He plays an ineffable game of his own devising, which might be compared from other perspective of any of the other players, i.e. everybody, to being involved in an obscure and complex variant of poker in a pitch-dark room with blank cards for infinite stakes, with a dealer who won't tell you the rules and who smiles all the time. They know part of the rules, you know none.
I've started thinking of source consciousness, God, whatever, the Great Spirit, however you want to recognize him.
I know what you mean. You're good.
As kind of like the world's most ineffable roommate. He's like a cat, but he's like the world's weirdest cat.
Because that's what you see.
Well, it's just like, I know that there's no way I could possibly understand the true nature of divinity.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
It's beyond my comprehension. So all that my little mortal brain can do is try and put it into metaphors or to concepts that are archetypes that I can understand.
That's what I'm saying, because that's what you see. And there's this whole other back room.
Yeah, because ineffability.
Ineffability, yeah.
Speaking of which, I love that a whole one person recognized our costume when we went to Comic-Con.
Yes.
That one person made it worth it.
It was.
If you see somebody in an oddball costume, tell them that you know what their costume is.
If you look at somebody and you're like, I know who you are, you go, hey, and say the person's name. Be like, yeah.
So like, even if it's only the character's name, just let them know that you're on their level. It'll make their day. Also, before you take pictures of someone,
always ask. Don't be creepy.
Even if you know for a fact they're going to say yes, just ask. Don't say yes to things. Don't say yes.
Don't talk to things.
Don't talk to things. Don't say yes when you haven't read the fine print. Don't play with fire. And thank you, Stefan. He tries real hard.
Thank you for coming to the Ramblin Tea House. You have 5 minutes and we release the hounds. See you later, everybody. Hello, you brave souls who made it to the end of this.
If you like what you heard and you'd like to hear more, you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker.
And despite what Kevin says, the hounds aren't for sale, so stop asking. The Ramblin Tea House is made by Ramblin Tea House Productions, LLC.